So Noah Centineo has kind of been that Netflix heartthrob for a long time. Can he break out of that shell and deliver something different with The Recruit? Let's talk about it. What's up, Netflix fans? Today we're reviewing The Recruit, a brand new series that I was hesitant for, but I was interested to see what it was. Let me know your thoughts down below, and let's do it. This series centers around Owen, a young CIA lawyer whose first week on the job turns upside down when he discovers a threatening letter by a former asset named Max, who plans to expose the agency unless they exonerate her of a serious crime. Owen quickly becomes entangled in a dangerous and often absurd world of power politics and mischievous players as he travels the world in hopes of completing his assignment and making his mark at the CIA. This series is, of course, produced by Centineo and Doug Liman. That's the name of note here for me. I'm a big fan of Liman and his films. Edge of Tomorrow, American Made. I really enjoy Jumper. I know a lot of people don't. You have movies like Chaos Walking in there, but for the most part, he's nailed it in the past. And then Alexi Hawley is our writer and our creator of this show. So a lot of really solid people at play here, but I want to start with Noah Centineo since he is our lead. He plays the character of Owen, kind of a fish out of water all throughout this series because he's not a guy who goes in and takes people out one by one. In this show, he's basically a field agent with no experience. He's a lawyer within the CIA. So the job that he is sent out to do at the beginning in the first episode is not the job that he should be sent out to do, but he gets caught up in so much madness in this series. And I love the fact that they don't give him abilities and special skills that a lawyer should have. Maybe a superhero lawyer, but he's not that, right? So he goes in, and oftentimes when he's in a fight in the show, he's on the losing end of that fight, and that's really how it should be. Like I mentioned, there is some humor that comes out of the situations that he's in, but for the most part, they're playing it straight. I mean, he has no clue what he's doing at points, especially in the beginning. He's learning on the fly, so obviously there's going to be a bit of humor that comes from that. And then you have two kind of side characters. They're also lawyers within the CIA, and these two characters are built to be purely the comedic relief in the show. And there are points where they come in and they're not really telling a joke. They're just kind of saying something that's supposed to lighten the situation. Whenever they're on screen, I'm thinking I'm watching more of a comedy, but that's not what this show is. It's much more of a drama, of a thriller. But whenever these two characters are on screen, I'm like, I don't know if they belong in this situation. I mean, they were chuckle-worthy at points, but they just felt a little out of left field. I much prefer the humor that's more subtle from the situations that Owen gets himself in, but these are very serious situations. I mean, in the first episode, he's in a spot to where he could lose his life, so the stakes are high. But you also have just a likable and charming guy played by Centineo. I didn't know how to feel about Owen in the beginning, but as we went, the more I responded to his actions, to his personality, to the relationships that are formed within the CIA, and then those that are happening outside of the people in that building. And you can't really trust everyone within that building. I mean, it's a show about the CIA. It's up to us to decide who we're able to trust as we go through the first few episodes. But when the stakes begin to raise, they begin to elevate a little bit later, really when we learn more about Laura Haddock's character in Max. She is a deadly and threatening character who is threatening to expose secrets about the CIA, and she wants something in return. And whenever we get a conversation between she and Owen, you really see both actors at work, but more importantly, you really see the writing on display. And I actually think the writing in this show is really good. It gets a bit overly convoluted in the middle, and then I have some issues at the end that we'll talk about, but for the most part, I was way more impressed with this dialogue than I thought I would be. And like I said, some comedic moments that come out of left field. But you learn to really like and appreciate these characters. Even Max, who is scary at times. And it's not like I was completely on board with what she was doing and saying, but she's likable and charming in this weird way, and there are other characters in there. It's like, you know, they're shady, you know you can't trust them, but at the same time, I just want to see those interactions between they and Owen. I think, you know, that's a testament to the character of Owen, because he's who you're following around throughout most of the show. You also have someone like Vondie Curtis Hall, who plays Centineo's boss. He's a tough guy, I mean, a really tough guy, but there is this supportive nature to his character. It's like, you know, if Owen has something that he has to do, he's going to go to his boss and say, hey, Are you going to give me permission? And the answer isn't always yes, but that's the kind of relationship I want in a show like this. And the action scenes, I mean, obviously Doug Liman directing a couple of episodes. You have other directors in there as well who have handled action in the past. They're actually really well done. And I'm not saying it's always even all the time between whoever's going up against each other. I mean, yeah, you throw a random CIA lawyer in the middle of a huge battle like this, of course it's going to be entertaining. And like I said, a little bit of humor that comes from that. But also, the stakes are high. And because the stakes are high, not everyone's going to make it out of this show alive. There are actually numerous characters, and I was like, I didn't expect it to be this way. I mean, the show is TV mature, so you're going to get blood and violence on that level. And then we build up the story. We get to a point to where we're like, okay, what's going to happen next? And in the last 2 episodes, there are 8 episodes total, each one about an hour long, there are things that happen that I was really impressed with and I was intrigued by. But at the end, there are so many loose ends, so many story points that are unanswered. And I'm thinking to myself, if people don't watch this show and Netflix doesn't renew it, I'm going to be very upset because I want to know answers. I want to know what's going to happen next. And because we didn't really get anything cemented at the end, it left me a little upset because no show other than like Wednesday and Stranger Things right now on Netflix is safe. This one is not safe. And I do wish there was more of a sense of finality at the end of season 1. Before I give you my score, thanks for being here. Let me know if you enjoyed this series down below. What's your favorite role of Noah Centineo's so far? I actually thought he was pretty good in Black Adam and some of these Netflix shows. And today's phrase of the day is to all the spies I've loved before. Be sure to comment that and confuse other people. Also, if you want to drop a like, that would be cool. Centineo plays a charming lead who knows when to play it serious but displays the right amount of comedy. The series has a much darker tone than expected at points, and the action is handled well. There are too many loose ends, but it will leave viewers wanting more. I was so surprised. I'm giving this a 75%. I enjoyed this show. I had a good time with it. I'm interested to see where it goes. I think it's the good starting point for a series that could grow into something absolutely awesome. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon.